Hello, Reggie, it's almost 10. Shall we start? Diana?
No. No problem.
Ma'am, we are still admitting people in.
Okay. It's 1:30 now.
Okay, just give me 2 minutes.
Okay.
Ma'am, if Dr. Khatri is ready, then we can begin.
Reggie, shall we start?
Yeah, yes.
Miss?
Yes. Am I audible? Swami?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. We'll start.
1 second, ma'am. Let me start recording.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Postgraduate Department of English and Research Center, St. Cyrus College for Women, Alava, I welcome you all to the second day of Spectra 2020. Today's resource person is Dr. Javed H. Khatri, currently working as Assistant Professor, School of Liberal Studies and Education, Navrajana University, Vadodara. He has published many books and articles, both in English and Gujarati. Without further ado, let me invite Dr. Javed H. Khatri to this session on semiotic analysis of gender representation in Indian advertisements. Dr. Javed Khatri.
So please unmute yourself. So we cannot hear you.
So on the screen, did you see the icon of a mic?
So can you unmute yourself?
Hello. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Now we can hear you.
All right. So yeah. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
So today's our topic is semiotic analysis of gender representation in advertisements. Now, this is actually a very what we call huge area, and a lot of things that can be done. Okay, but I'll give a very basic idea of how we can look at advertisements. Okay. So, I begin with this statement by Norman Douglas, that is, you can tell the ideals of the nation by its advertisements. Okay, the advertisements are such an important, what we call thing that, say, part that has become part of our culture. Okay, and the way we create, accept the advertisements and the products associated with those advertisements tell a lot about our socio-cultural. And so today the key concepts that we are dealing with are semiotics, sign, the concept of sign, advertising, representation, gender, gender roles, and marketing. So I'll begin with a very basic idea of what semiotics is. Okay, what is semiotics? Those who come from linguistics background, or those who have done literary and cultural studies or criticism, they must be aware about what semiotics is. Still, for those who are newcomer to the field, I'll just give a brief idea what semiotics is. So semiotics is basically a systematic study or scientific study of science. Okay. It is assumed that every meaning-making system is a semiotic system. Anything that can create meaning is a sign, and that means we have to study that particular sign under semiotics. So everything that carries meaning is a sign. So here, the first model of sign was proposed by Ferdinand de Saussure. Okay, this model is called the dyadic model of sign. Ferdinand de Saussure presented a dyadic model of sign which is largely based on linguistic sign. That is, Saussure's concerns were related with language. He wanted to understand how language works and how, as a linguist, we can study the language and understand the mental processes related with the language. So his work on sign came to be known as semiology, because he was working in Paris, he was working in French. So his idea is very simple, okay, that every sign is made up of signifier and a signified. So signifier is basically the word, okay, or the chain of sound. Okay, say for example, here there is tree. So when we write tree, T-R-E-E, tree, that is a written word. And when we speak tree, there are three sounds, T, R, E. Okay, so when we combine them in this specific order, it becomes a signifier. Okay, and that signifier is associated with a signified. Say for example, in this case, this particular tree. See, so when we combine both of them, the signifier and signified, we get the sign. Okay, the sign of tree. So in different languages, we have different signs based on the differences of signifiers. Okay, but what is interesting for Saussure and Saussure's model is, he said that both the signifier and the signified are mental concepts. Okay, they don't directly relate with the real world. Okay, they are there in the mind of the speaker and the hearer. So when as a speaker I speak the word tree, okay, I have an association of that word in my mind, okay, with a particular real life object, okay, which is that image is there in my mind. And the listener who is listening to me, he or she also has that same image in his or her mind, so that they can interpret the sign that I'm using. So that was the basic idea of Saussure's model of sign in semiology. Then the second sign, or the second model of the sign, was presented by C.S. Peirce or Charles Sanders Peirce. His model is called triadic model. Charles Sanders Peirce presented a triadic model of sign which is based on logic. Okay. When we talk about Saussure, his model was based on linguistics and the study of language. But Peirce's model of sign is based on the logic and the philosophy. And as Saussure uses signifier and signified, two concepts. Similarly, Peirce uses three concepts: representamen, interpretant, and object. Now, his work on sign can be known as semiotics. So this is the American word that we have now used, and semiotics is more better known than the semiology, though Saussure's work is more readily followed by the people than the Peirce world. So Peirce's idea of representamen, okay, interpretant, so they are very close to what Saussure says signifier and signified, but Peirce adds one more thing, that is object. So Peirce adds the real life. Okay, that when you are referring to a signifier and signified, that is representamen and interpretant, okay, there is a real life object that you are referring to. Okay, so that real object comes in the picture when we look at Peirce's model. And there is one more thing called semiosis, that is meaning making process, what Peirce calls semiosis. Okay. Now, considering this basic semiotic models, one can study every detail of any text. Okay, and text means any object. We can study an image. Okay, we can study a film, we can study an advertisement, we can study a work of art, we can study literature. Everything is a text under this semiotic definition. Whether that could be a sound, image, word, color, shape, everything becomes significant and expresses some very specific meaning for the interpreter. Okay, so everything that we see around us can be studied under the label of semiotics. Okay, provided they create some specific significance for us, the interpreter. Okay. The next point I want to talk about is the advertisement. What is an advertisement? So advertisement is anything that creates an interest and attracts the attention of the subject. Okay, so anything that that is used to create an attention, to grab an attention of the people, is an advertisement. We encounter many types of advertisements in our daily lives, such as classified. Like in newspapers, we see these kind of advertisements: wanted bride, or education, or rent, or property, or recruitment. So these classifieds are also advertisements. We see posters all around us. Say, for example, this is a poster for the no smoking editorials. It is basically a kind of social work poster that they try to convey the message that smoking is not good for an individual. So such posters are around us. The moment we move on the road, we see posters both the sides. Okay. Then there are TV advertisements. Whenever we watch TV, we see a lot of advertisements on the TV. Even when we surf the internet, say we are looking at our Google accounts or Facebook accounts or Insta accounts, you find advertisements there also. Okay, so this is one more example. Okay, you can see this is the ad of L'Oreal, but it says this is an ad for men. Okay, so why do they say this? Okay, so here what they are doing, they are trying to create the interest of the reader by using this kind of specific statement. Okay, so if you read the statement, you see this picture and you see that there is no direct connection between these two, so you get interested and you read it, you put your attention to the details. Similarly, there are product placements. When we watch movies, when we watch TV serials, plenty of products are put within the frames of those TV serials and movies. So they kind of create a positive image for the product, that Kareena Kapoor uses our product or Salman Khan uses our product. So that gives automatic positive what we call attention. Like in this movie, most probably Ready movie, there is this advertisement, that is product placement of Sony Vaio laptops. Okay, then you can see the glasses that Salman Khan is wearing. So these products come there in the movies, okay, not as an advertisement, but by looking at that, we tend to develop a kind of unconscious image of it, and we tend to associate the products with the positive aspects of the character. Okay, so we are basically surrounded by the advertisements. There are different forms, there are different mediums, there are different messages, but they all convey one thing, that pay attention. Okay, look at us. So that is the basic motto of every advertisement: look at us, pay attention. So what is advertising? Okay, so one of the primary features of any advertisement is representing idealized happy life. Okay, so the basic idea is that if you are using our product, your life will be happier than it is. So that is what we call underlying statement of every advertisement. So what happens here is advertisements also target their prospective consumers by representing them and their daily life in a specified mode. Okay, they represent the ideal woman, that what should be an ideal woman, the ideal housewife, the ideal kitchen, the ideal male, the ideal husband, the ideal Indian, the advanced, the civilized, the modern, etc. All these things are represented in our advertisements. Okay, so if you tend to neglect those particular messages, then you are probably trapped into it because you have started believing it. So consumers' role is to believe and take up these idealized forms and become like them by using the products. So this is the basic argument, that our product gives the ideal happy life. If you use our product, you will become ideal person, you will become a happy person. So the basic motto there is, you buy our product to become a happy person. You can see here, this is an advertisement of L&M, and there is a husband who is smoking this particular product, a wife is sleeping in his lap, and a kid is sleeping in wife's lap. And it says, when a cigarette means a lot, you get lots more from L&M. So L&M is used here with lots more. Okay. Now what is interesting here is, we all know that smoking is injurious not only for the person who is smoking, but also for the people surrounding him. Okay, but here they are placing the product in a way, okay, that the cigarette smoking will give you a better life. Okay, if you see, the husband is well awake, okay, while the wife and the child are in a peaceful sleep. Okay, so they are basically a happy family who are enjoying the nature. And this is also one interesting aspect, that when there are advertisements of cigarettes and liquors, they emphasize on the adventures and greenery. Like you see that they are basically in the garden or probably in a jungle, they are enjoying the greenery. Okay, so they are completely removing the very idea of harmfulness of the product from its propaganda. Okay, it is never, and not a single word is written about it. Okay, so what they are trying to show is that because this particular person is using this product, they are living a happy and peaceful life. Okay, now whether we accept it or not, that is a secondary aspect, but that message is being conveyed. So what is interesting here is the advertisements do not represent gender. Okay, I repeat, the advertisements do not represent gender, they represent gender roles. If you look at this, okay, so what is the role of an ideal husband? Okay, the ideal husband's role is to provide security and peace to the family, and which this person is doing. Okay, so that is the role they are emphasizing by putting this product in his hand. They tell the customers that what is their respective roles in the given family and the society. If you are part of a family, if you are a male, you have to use these products, because those products will fulfill the idealized requirements. If you are a female, you use these products, because those products will fulfill the idealized roles of a female. Okay, so we'll see more such examples. Okay, so what is gender? Etymologically, the moment we use the word gender, it means a kind or a type. Okay, it has no direct connection with the biological gender. Okay, so the grammatical gender we talk about, okay, like in many of our dominant languages, we have three genders: masculine, feminine, and neutral. But it is not necessary that all the languages in the world have only those three these three genders. Okay, there are more genders in many languages, there are less genders in many languages, but biologically there are only three possibilities. Now, grammatically, most of the languages differentiate between male and female gender, and few more languages have other categories too. Okay, this is grammatically. But when we are looking at gender studies, okay, in our case, normally mean study of the females and their issues. Okay, so gender studies have become equivalent to feminist studies or issues related with the females, because we tend to concentrate on the marginalized categories. Okay, and in our patriarchal societies, the female is a marginalized group. In spite of all the attempts of women empowerment, we also talk about female education, we also talk about say modern Indian women and all. Okay, but still the society remains a patriarchal society. Sorry, and hence we need to look at the issues of the what we call periphery. If we look at the structuralist idea of a structure, okay, that is, there is a center and there is a periphery. So if we look at our society as a structure, then male is the center of that structure and the female is the periphery. So majority of the decisions are taken considering the interest of the center. So in order to understand the requirements and the problems of the periphery, we will have to put the periphery into the center. So what happens here is we need to distinguish between female, feminine, and feminism. So female is primarily a biological category, okay, that you are female biologically. Okay. Feminine is a social construct. Okay, that is, certain things are feminine. We say pink is a feminine color. Okay, there is no natural connection between the color pink and the female. Okay, but this is a kind of social construct. Okay, then we say that a household work is a feminine job. Okay, so that is again a social construct that within the society, okay, we feel, we think, and we have constructed certain rules. Okay, so those rules are operative here. Okay, so that is where the feminine comes. Feminine is always a social construct. So feminine body, feminine roles, okay, and then feminine problems and all these things. Okay, and the last part, the feminism, is basically an ideological stand. Okay, and when we are looking at gender, it's not just about female. Okay, you will have similar difference between the kind of males. Say male is a biological category, while masculine is what we call the social construct. Why? Because there are certain things that all males do not adhere to, but because it is considered masculine, they had to follow. Okay, like the real man don't cry. Okay, so that is a kind of masculine social construct. Okay, so when we are looking at gender or gender studies, we will have to consider all these aspects. Okay, let's move further. Okay, gender in advertisement. So representation of male and masculine. So being a male or being so the social construct of masculine means that you are fair and handsome according to the advertisements. Okay, so we have a lot of advertisements nowadays about being fair and handsome. Okay, now what is interesting about these advertisements, that they never take a person who is genuinely not fair, okay, and they are using this product. Okay, so someone who is already fair is using fair and handsome doesn't make any sense. Okay, then you have to be rich and successful. This is the most important social construct for a male. Okay, like they have used somebody like Pierce Brosnan, who was not even aware about what product he was what we call propagating for. Okay, he came to know about it after the advertisements were in the market. Okay, so because he is rich, he is successful, he creates a kind of positive what we call vibe for the product. Okay, so this becomes a kind of requirement, this becomes a kind of expectation of the society from the males. Okay, and that's why almost all pan masala kind of advertisement, they say unche log unchi pasand. Okay, that they are successful people, that's why they are using this product. And you have to be a risk taker and a seducer. Okay, like you can see the advertisements of Dew, you can see the advertisements of 7-Up. Okay, they take risk. If you don't take risk, you are not man enough. Okay, so they say, the tagline here says naam bante hain risk se. Okay, now imagine the kind of message they are conveying, because they are using the celebrity who has never done a film outside his father's studio. He has never taken a risk, okay, to become a star, and he is propagating about the risk taking, that if you use this product, you will become a risk taker. Similarly, seducers, almost all male perfume advertisements say that if you use this product, you will become a seducer, you will seduce hundreds and thousands of girls and women. I don't know how truthful is it. So here it's a chocolate flavor X dark temptation. Okay, and they go with the assumption that all the female like chocolate flavor, so they will be mad about this particular consumer who is using this product. Similarly, there is something called, again, this particular advertisement puts two aspects of male, like what they say here, the risk taker, someone who is say someone who loves adventures, okay, and this one, someone who is very, very successful. Okay, so they have the product in the center. On the one side, they show the successful aspect of the consumer. On the other side, they show the adventurous aspect of the consumer. Okay, and you can see here that there is one male character and two female characters. Okay, implying the message that if you use this product, the female will automatically come to you. Okay. The advertised products give you all these qualities. This is the basic idea of advertisement, that if you are using this product, by using that product, you will become this. You will become fair and handsome, you will become risk taker, you will become a seducer, you will become a rich person. That's the idea put forward. You become one by accepting the product. Celebrities are always there to create a positive impact for the product, and our celebrities are, let's say, they earn more in advertisements than their actual roles of a cricketer or a film star. Okay, like you have Shah Rukh Khan, Amitabh Bachchan, Hrithik Roshan, Salman Khan. Okay, and then our cricketers like Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. Okay, so they earn like anything in their endorsements of the products. Okay, and endorsement also mean that they go with the philosophy of the product. Similarly, when we look at gender in advertisements, female and feminine, okay, how they are presented in our advertisements. So being female means you are fair, beautiful and desirable. Okay, and that's why advertisements like this, which makes you fair. Okay, there are thousands of such advertisements. Okay, you have Fair and Lovely, you have this Miglo, you have many other products that claim that they will make you fairer than you are. Okay, so it's not just making you fair, it also makes you beautiful, it also makes you desirable, and many a times they claim that because you are fair, you are getting a job. Okay, so all feminine problems are solved with this product only. Okay, if we tend to believe our advertisements. Okay, this is again rideability. Okay, so basically they have used the caption in an ambiguous way, whether the product or the woman is rideable. Okay, so that idea of desirability is very clearly conveyed in the frame. Then you take care of the family. Okay, that is another expectation from a woman. Women has to be beautiful, women has to be desirable, but at the same time women has to be taking care of the family, and she can create smooth family bonding, and she can satisfy all the needs of the family. Okay, for example, you can see here an aged Mosmi Chatterjee, if I'm not wrong, she is offering a particular product to the younger generation. See, when there are advertisements of spices and pickle and the Ayurvedic products, okay, they tend to use old aged women because they wanted to show the idea of experience, idea of sustenance. Okay, so here the old aged woman is recommending a product to young women. Okay, so she is taking care of the Keith and Kings. Similarly, here stands gone first time. You have Sri Devi. So they say trust ping, forget stains. Okay, so again, Sri Devi is like when this ad was made, she was not young. Okay, she was in her middle age and she is taking care of the family. She is basically saying that washing clothes is the job of a female. Okay, and if they use this particular product, their job will become easier. Okay, you have to take care of your body to remain desirable. This is one of the most important arguments targeting the females. Okay, they don't say that you take care of your body because you are you should be healthy. They tell you that you take care of your body so that others desire you. Okay, so you have this body care advertisement, love your body, and they write here very clearly that if you are beautiful, the people will desire you. Okay, you don't have to be beautiful, you don't have to be healthy for your own sake. You have to be beautiful and healthy for others. If you are beautiful, you are desirable. If you are healthy, you can take care of the family. And you have to train the next generation in their expected social roles, like what is happening here. Okay, similarly, in the advertisements of pickle, you will notice that there will be an old woman and a young woman together. Okay, so we believe or we interpret that the old woman is a mother-in-law and the young woman is the daughter-in-law. So mother-in-law is teaching the daughter-in-law how to make good pickle. Okay, in majority of these advertisements, the women are teaching to other women, okay, that how to take care of the family, how to make good what we call food, how to be a good cook, how to make good pickles, how to make good spices. So all these things, then the old woman is involved and she is teaching to the younger women. And there is new category, gender in advertisement, representation of LGBTQ. Though our society has not accepted this category as it is, but for marketing purposes, it is already there. So this is one advertisement, not from India. Priceless family moments are now affordable. Okay, kids age 2 to 15 ride for half off. Now, if you just look at the picture, you will never realize that they refer to a same-sex couple. Okay, but when you read the idea of family, priceless family moments, then you realize that, oh, they are couple. Okay, so and this same product is using another advertisement with 3 females, 2 couple, same-sex female and a daughter. Okay, so they are using the LGBTQ as one of the marketing devices. Similarly, this is the recent tweet from Oreo, June 25 Pride Parade. Okay, so they are using the colors of Vibgyor, that is basically the Pride Parade symbol. Okay, and by tweeting this, they are kind of supporting the parade and LGBTQ community. So use of LGBTQ is more of a marketing devices rather than actual support and acceptance. Okay, they want to use it for marketing purposes. They never say that we support LGBTQ. Okay, they never say that we support their movement, or they never say that we support same-sex marriage. Okay, but they use these kind of images and symbols to show as a kind of marketing device. Okay, this is one more such advertisements, DTF or OK Cupid. This is a kind of what we call online what we call service where you meet people. So here they are clearly using the lesbian couple. Okay, now if you see, what is awkward here is these extra 2 hands. Okay, if you just refer to these 2 hands and you don't use this, then you may not convey the message that these 2 are actual couple, same-sex couple. Okay, you may convey that they are friends. Okay, and they are close friends, that's all. But with the help of these particular sign, you are changing the meaning of the relationship. With this particular placement of hands means that they are in a sexual relationship with each other, same-sex marriage or same-sex relationship. So these kind of small aspect will change the meaning of what they are sending. Again, they are using it as a kind of marketing device. They have also used the advertisements with both males. Okay. So lesbianism is more prevalent than other forms of LGBTQ, primarily because here too the females can be projected for the male gaze, okay, and desire. Okay, so the idea of male gaze is they don't wait the gaze doesn't wait for the what we call acceptance of the other party. Okay, so even if that woman is not a heterosexual woman, the male gaze is still relevant. Okay, so the male desire is still relevant. Okay, so the idea of male gaze coming from the film theories is also equally usable here. And the filmmakers, the ad filmmaker and the poster makers, they are quite aware about it and they exploit it to the best of their results. So irrespective of the choice of sexual orientation and what we call what they prefer and what they don't, the male gaze will be there. So now I have two examples. I'll first discuss the first example. This is from FANA. So they have used 4 characters in this advertisement. And if you look at the entire picture, the logo is here, FANA. So this particular advertisement is published on the back page of the magazine. Okay, so back cover page of the magazine. Okay, the product is placed here. So there is FANA detergent powder, then there is FANA shop, and there is a washing machine, and there is a balti. And then if you look at the characters, they are basically characters from, they are part of the cricket team, I think Rajasthan Royals. Okay, and yes, principal, no, Kings 11 Punjab, principal sponsor of Kings 11 Punjab 2019. And she is the owner of the particular team. Okay, and in the background you see 3 most important players. You have Chris Gayle, KL Rahul, and I don't remember his name. Okay, now what is interesting, the first message they are conveying, okay, that though Preity Zinta is the owner of this important cricket team, when it comes to washing the clothes, okay, only she will be projected. Only she has the washing powder in her hand. Okay, so making their message very clear that the washing is done by female. Okay, they have used red color for all 3 of them because it is the what we call standard color for their uniform, for the team's uniform. Okay, but the rest of the things you see a lot of pink here, pink here, pink here, and here. Okay, and they have used 2 important aspects here, rose or chandan. Okay, so chandan is used in Hindi. So why didn't they use gulab instead of rose? And then they say super safedi. Why super? Okay, they could have used complete Hindi or complete English. Super fairness. Okay, so now why we need to look at this? Okay, because these are the different signs used by the advertisers. Okay, the campaigners we normally call it. Okay, so here the first, if we go by semiotic aspect, so there is a choice. Okay, what we call the paradigmatic order. Okay, that there are 4 characters. The choice was that any of these characters could have hold the product, but the product is only in the hand of a female. Okay, all 4 of them could have hold the product. That is also a possibility. Okay, so these are the paradigmatic choices the campaigner had, but they made a choice that the product will go only in the hand of the female. Okay, which goes with our standard cultural code. okay, standard social code that in Indian houses the washing is done by the female. Okay, fine. So this is the most important choice that the campaigner has made, first of all. Second thing, they have selected 4 celebrities instead of 4 common people. Okay, so that is again a paradigmatic choice. Okay, that why they have selected 4 celebrities. They could have selected 1 celebrity and 3 common people, okay, or all 4 common people, and there are multiple possibilities, but they have selected this particular thing, this particular option paradigmatically. Okay, so again they want to convey that our product is used by these kind of celebrities. Okay, our product has the endorsement of these celebrities. Okay, and that becomes a very important message. Okay, okay, so this is again a second paradigmatic choice that they have done. So use of language, then we see karo champions wali dhulai. Now it is written in Hindi. Okay, karo champions wali dhulai, it is a Hindi statement, but they are using English fonts. And the second important aspect, karo and dhulai are comparatively bigger fonts than champions wali. So if you only read those bigger fonts, it means karo dhulai, that is do washing. Okay, so the champions wali is secondary. For the product, the important part, the primary part is that you have to do washing. And when you have to do it, okay, because now that washing is connected with this particular product, okay, the moment you think about dhulai, the moment you think about the washing, okay, this product will be primed. Okay, because they have created that particular association here. Okay, champions wali, that is, this is another implication goes with the tagline that if you are using this product, you will also become a champion. Okay, and contrary to that, the negative implication is that if you don't use this product, you will never become a champion. Okay, so this is a subtle message that they are conveying. Okay, then here they are using an interesting thing, machine or balti wash. Okay, so machine wash is interesting. Why? Because let's say these celebrities and they are playing games somewhere, okay, and they are not at their homes. Okay, so they might need to wash their clothes. Okay, so in that situation they can depend on this particular product, okay, because they are using washing machine, and this product will give them best kind of washing. Okay, so that is the primary implication and the connection between using the celebrity and machine wash. Okay, the celebrities, because they are away from home, they are playing somewhere else, so they might use this product, or they are using this product by implication. Then balti wash is primarily for the household washing, that when a housewife is doing washing, she prefers the balti wash first, then it will be given to the washing machine. Okay, so in both these cases you can use the same product, because there are plenty of products which are only for the say washing machine. Okay, and there are some products which are only for the balti wash or hand wash. Okay, while this product they are claiming that is applicable equally with both machine and with balti. Okay, so Super Safedi is something called a kind of dominant code in all the detergent what we call advertisements, because all of them claim that they give the best whiteness, the clothes will become the fairest. Okay, and then in the end they have given a kind of imperative sentence. Okay, Fena hi lena. Okay, that is, they are telling you that only buy Fena or buy only Fena. Okay, so it's a kind of order. Okay, and when you connect this statement with this celebrity, it also means that these celebrities are ordering you to buy this product. Okay, and then there are their web page, Facebook page, so you can get more details. Fine. Now background is completely what we call, the upper part is kind of sky blue, lower part is kind of the what we call sea green, or so that shows the naturalness, freshness of the product, that if you use this product, these are the implications. The product is fresh, it gives you some smell because it is made of rose and chandan. Okay, so they didn't use rose and sandal or gulab or chandan. They say rose or chandan. Okay, so first word is English, second word is Hindi. Okay, so here when we consider overall text, okay, there is something called the model of meat by Roland Barthes, okay, which is directly connected with the ideology, okay, cultural social ideology or dominant ideology. So if you look at this, okay, on a surface level, it says that this woman celebrity is such a successful person. Okay, and even such a successful person is using our product. So this is a very simple, what we call denotative level of meaning. Okay, but if you look at the mythic level or the connotative level, what Roland Barthes calls, okay, then it implies that even if you become a powerful celebrity and own one entire team in let's say most expensive kind of Premier League, okay, the washing of clothes is your duty being a female. Okay, so that is the myth that is being propagated, which is being what we call strengthened by these kind of advertisements. Okay, that the women's role is to wash the clothes. Now which product you are using becomes secondary because all the products are saying the same. Okay, okay, so here the role is more becomes more important, that this is your role, this is what you have to do, and that's why no other celebrity is holding the product in their hands. They are happy, they are enjoying. Okay, even the person, the celebrity who is holding the product is also happy. Okay, so there is the implication that the what we call reason of her happiness is the product. She is happy because she has this product. This product has minimized her work, but the underlying message is this is her work. Okay, there is one more example. Okay, Amul Macho male innerwear. It's written very clearly here, male innerwear. But in the entire advertisement, you can see only a face of female. Okay, and there is the product. Okay, and there is one line, crafted for fantasies. Okay, they did not say made, they say crafted. Okay, so it's not a product, it's a work of art. It is crafted. Okay, and crafted for what? Fantasies. Okay, so basically they are not referring to the males in the advertisement. Okay, rather they are taking the opposite stand. Okay, and they talk about the impact of the product instead of the kind of what we call specialities of the product. Like in this advertisement, they say that this product is what we call full of the roses and sandalwood, and it can be used in washing machine and balti. So these are the features of the product, that how you can use the product. But here they are not talking about the use, they are talking about the impact. And if you are using this product, this will be the impact on the opposite gender, that is on the female. Okay, they did not specify whether that female is the spouse or girlfriend. Okay, so there is no such specification. That kind of what we call illegitimate what we call relationship is allowed for males, that they can imagine about any woman. But when the women is doing so, it becomes a fantasy. Okay, crafted for fantasy. You are wearing, somebody else is fantasizing about it. So that's the kind of gender role they are what we call creating with the help of the product. They are telling the males that your primary gender role is being man, being masculine, being dominant. Okay, that others should fantasize about you. Okay, and that gender role will come when you use our product. Okay, so there is no connection whatsoever with the product and its usability. Okay, they don't say that it is comfortable, they don't say that it is long lasting, they don't say that it uses a good cloth. Okay, no such features are talked about. They simply give one line, crafted for fantasies. Okay, and if you see, the women's eye are open, her mouth is open. Okay, her hand gesture is also of surprise. Okay, and it is very clearly shown that she is married. Okay, and she belongs to a good house. She is wearing all the jewelry, makeup, sari. Okay, so all those are shown, and with that they have given one line, crafted for fantasies. So even the good housewives will fantasize about the dark things if you are using this product. So this product is directly associated with those kind of fantasies. Okay, and this is Amul macho. So macho, the word itself, related with the masculinity. Okay, fine. So this is a kind of what we call ideas they try to establish. Okay, though very subconsciously, not very directly, but say after all these years, all these things have survived. Okay, and that means we tend to accept such ideas. Okay, there was similar advertisement like this of Gadi detergent Tikya, Gadi detergent powder. So in which I could not get that poster because on online, otherwise I would have shown it. So there was one big sachet like this of Gadi detergent powder in the background. In front of that there were 11 females. Okay, and all of them belong to separate occupations. Someone is doctor, someone is professor, someone is engineer, someone is advocate, someone is nurse, someone is pilot. Okay, so there are 11. So 5 one side, 5 on other side, and in the center there is a housewife. And then they say that all these women are happy because this product, they are using this product, that is Ghadi detergent powder. Its tagline was "Pehle istemal kare, fir vishwas kare." Okay. So they are clearly saying that no matter what you become, washing clothes is your duty. Okay, so you will have to find out the best product for yourself, and this is the what we call recommendation from our side, that this is the best product. You use this, you will be happy. So housewife becomes the central role for almost all what we call advertisements that represent gender. The second important role is being desirable. Okay, that you are a woman, that means you should be desired by others. So you have to be fair, you have to be beautiful, you have to present yourself in a way that others like you. Okay, you have to maintain certain type of figure. Okay, you have to wear certain type of makeup so that people like you. Okay, so these two are the most important roles presented in Indian advertisements primarily. Okay, so I think I'll stop here. I wait for your questions, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
You made us aware about how you must go for the signs that are available in every realm, may it be advertisements or any other realm that is there. You made us understand how you can read the politics inherent in every kind of representation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Dear
you.
participants, you can raise your questions now. You can unmute yourself and ask the questions, or you can post in the chat box.
Thank you. Thank you for being such a nice audience. Yeah, it's
So some comments are there in the chat box, sir.
okay. How do I check this checkbox? Yeah, there are 80 comments. Yeah. So should I start from the above? Thank you for feedback link.
Sir,
They are
I
not
have a
actually-
question. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello? I think you can
Can you
continue.
hear me?
Yes,
ma'am,
yes.
we can hear you. I'm Subhashri from Pondicherry. I have a doubt, actually, I mean a kind of
Yeah,
clarification.
please.
Sir, can you suggest some
Yeah.
books like to read about semiotics as such, basic books,
Basic books.
kind of preliminary introductions?
Okay.
Thank you.
There is one interesting book by Daniel Chandler in the basic series, Semiotics, the Basics. That is the title. Okay, by Daniel Chandler. And if you are concerned with the semiotic aspects of media, then there is interesting book by Media Semiotics and Introduction by Marcel Danesi. Danesi is linguistic anthropologist and he also works on semiotics. And there is one by Jonathan Bignell called An Introduction to Media Semiotics. So these are all basic books. You will get the basic idea. But for Saussurean semiotics, it is better to start from Saussure only. He is very accessible, very easy. He is available in translations. For Peirce is difficult. So for Peirce, we can go to the second sources. Saussure, we can go to the original. Yeah, I hope I have made it clear to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I have noted down. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Could you please send PPT after this is in the group? Could you please send the PPT after the session in the group, ma'am? I think yes, I've already shared the PPT with the organizers.
Yes,
So-
we'll share it.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
share it. There is a question here, sir, by Swati.
Yeah.
What are the effects of advertisement by the media in aspects of transgender?
Transgender, see, the best thing that we can think of is, and the most positive aspect that we can think of is, the media creates a kind of awareness and normalization of transgender. If media could do that, it is more than enough. Okay, so this is one thing that we expect from various media channels, that they make it transgender issue normal, like they are like us, they are not different. Okay, so if that can happen, that is more than enough.
Okay, sir. There is another question from Swarnali. How do you think these stereotypes can be lessened?
Again,
How do you think can these stereotypes be lessened?
okay, stereotypes is not basically created by the media. Stereotypes are created by the people. So the moment we start looking at things with more open-mindedness, media will have to change its approach. See, for media, it is a kind of need that in order to make their message easily comprehensible, they have to use the stereotype. But the stereotypes can be removed from our own houses. Okay, like if you look at your house, uh, like how many people's home, the husbands or the say male child is doing household work. Okay, if we can change that in our house, it will automatically change.
Thank you, sir. There is an interesting
Sir,
question. Okay.
Sir, this is Ritu. I have a question for you. So recently, this Fair and Lovely has changed its name to Glow and Lovely. So do you feel that this change in brand itself has an agenda?
Obviously, see, how do we define lovely? Okay, lovely is something that is lovable, right? So if you are using that product, then you become lovable. Otherwise, you are not. So every product has an agenda. The primary agenda is they want to sell their product. So yes, everything comes with some agenda. It is up to the consumer whether we buy that agenda or not. Okay. So if we remove the term fairness, that doesn't mean that we will remove the racism from the society. The racism is part of our mind, not of the product. So the idea of beauty is also part of our mind. We consider certain things beautiful, certain things lovable. Okay. So those, when the moment we start accepting everything as equal, okay, then probably these kind of agendas will not turn up.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Dr. Aloysius Albert has an interesting question.
Yep.
In Acts, why women are endangered and men are engendered?
Again, women are
Why endangered? Women are endangered and men engendered.
engendered.
Why is it so?
See, this is a very what we call a unique kind of questions. If we look at the basic message of X deodorant, right? This is the product, right?
What is it?
What was the product? X deodorant.
No, the product is not mentioned here.
Okay, so in ads normally what happens that our society has used women as an object from the very beginning. If you go back to the time when there was no camera, even at that time you get a lot of paintings of women, okay, by those classic painters, and there are very few paintings of men. Okay, so why? Because they thought that this is something beautiful and we need to objectify it. Okay, so the same tradition is going on. Okay, like there was one statement by Gorilla Girls that in museums 90% of nude paintings and sculptures are of women, but when you look at the female artist, only 2 to 3% of female artists could enter into the museum with their product, with their art. Okay, so what comes is that we have developed a patriarchal society, and the basic reason is we believe that the earning is basically a masculine job, and the women has to take care of the family. So from the very beginning, this idea is part of our mind, our society. So those who are braid earner, okay, they will become automatically powerful. Those who have the money are powerful. So the powerful will always exploit the powerless. What Marx also said. Okay, so same thing is happening within the family, within the society. That there is a class of male who has the money, who has control of the money, control of the economy. So they are powerful. While women are kept as household servants, they are there to do household work. They are there to do the pleasure work. They have to entertain the male. So because of these long tradition, okay, now the advertisements have also used that tradition, the stereotypical tradition, to convey their message. Because if they are using the same stereotype, they will not have to explain it. I'm sorry. So stereotypes, as I earlier said, it's not just that they want to use it. It is their requirement because they want to convey a message. And message with the stereotypes becomes easier to interpret. Okay, there will be less ambiguity. Okay, because there is only one stereotype. Okay, so I hope I made myself clear.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. So this is Faisal. This is Faisal. Thank you so much for this fruitful session. So my question is it possible for the idea of the advertisement to have more than one meaning, or it has one meaning only?
No,
Thank
there are multiple meanings. Every text, okay, every text that we look at and we interpret has multiple meanings. Okay, it depends on the interpreter, that how you read it. Now, in our case, and especially in the case of advertisements, there are certain delimitation. They use certain techniques to say limit the interpretation of it. Second thing, that even today, the dominant community is of the male gender. Okay, so their interpretation will be considered dominant interpretation. Okay. So there are multiple interpretation, multiple possibilities of interpretations, but there are certain dominant interpretations. Okay. And normally we go by those dominant interpretations. Is it making sense? Am I making sense?
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So there is another question. This current mindset in advertisement seems so erotic. How can you bring in change? How to bring in change?
Again?
This current mindset in advertisement seems so erotic. How to bring in change? There is a question, one more question related to this.
Okay.
Can I read that as well?
Yeah, sure.
So do you think that the ideas about gender roles in advertising can change now?
See, first thing is this idea of male gaze. Okay, that advertisements and even movies in film theory, they say, considering the Lacanian psychoanalysis, that they are prepared for male. Okay, so they are prepared for the pleasure of male class, male category. Okay, and that is why there are certain level of objectification of women, and that's why there is some level of eroticism involved, because they want to appeal to the males. And even today, even after all this what we call economic empowerment of the women, even today when you want to buy something in your house for yourself, you have to, in most of the families, you have to take the permission of the male, and then you buy it. Even if you are buying from your own money, you are doing job, you are earning. So that level of what we call ideological power is still there. That level of dominance is still there, and that's why the text is created to appeal to those dominant powers, to dominant people. Okay, and they advertisements also imply that by using these products you will also become dominant. Okay, so you are using that product, they show in the advertisement that someone who is using the product is more desirable for women. So that is the second dominant what we call code used in the advertisements, in the making of advertisements. And that's why culturally it becomes important that where you place the idea of feminine gender in the cultural text. Okay, and the second question, that can we change? So we as a society have to change the textual production, because all these text, either it is advertisement or a movie, they are made from the society, made from the culture. Okay, so the moment the society changes, these text will also change. Okay, there are some changes, there are some new kind of messages, but they are in a smaller number. Let's hope that the number increases and we come to some level of balance in terms of representation. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Now, there are two people asking somewhat similar question. The Unilever product Fair and Lovely is changing their product's name and has deleted fair from it. Do you think that people are becoming aware of the social constructs propagated by the MNCs to sell their products? Your views about it?
Yes, social constructs are basically like in all our literature, what we call departments and social studies department, we talk about those social constructs. We are majority of our population is becoming more and more what we call educated, literate, and now we are all what we call techno savvy. We are all connected with the world in terms of internet, in terms of various social media platforms. So now these issues, if it is raised at one place, it will be spread to all over the world. Okay, so because of the internet, certain level of what we call literacy about these social constructs and how multinational companies are working have become apparent. Okay, so yes, people are becoming aware about it. Like there was this movement of Black Lives Matter. Okay, so it was a movement in a particular city of a particular country, but you get support from all over the world. Okay, so what you have realized that the authorities are doing something wrong, and you all have spoken against those authorities through various mediums. Some people have walked on the road, some people have typed on their screens, but all of you have supported. Why? Because we have become aware about it. So yes, because of the internet, because of the social media platforms, and now there is very easy accessibility to the celebrities, those who are part of those campaigns also. Okay, but now you can directly message to certain celebrity on social media platforms, on Twitter, on Instagram, and many times they reply as well. Okay, so you now see the other side of the world as well, which was not possible before 20-30 years. Okay, that how those celebrity really live was not the public thing, but now because of the social media, everybody knows how they live, how and what kind of life they are living, and whether they are actually using those products or not. Okay, so we are becoming aware because of the internet, because of the education, because of the various social movements. So yes, and it should go on. We have to become even more literate about all these things. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sir.
Good
There's a
afternoon,
question.
sir.
Okay.
May I ask the question, ma'am?
Yes,
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 yes.
please.
So my question is, do you believe that some complex advertisements which are actually failed to have some huge impact on illiterates? I mean, some ads which are framed, designed in such a way that which confuses the people, and what are they supposed to propagate which we fail to understand. Do you believe that, sir?
See, yes, because see, when there is a text and there are multiple interpretations of the text, then there is a possibility that certain what we call section of the people may misread it or may read it in a different way. Okay, and there is a belief in our society even today that whatever comes in media is true. Okay, my mother still believes that whatever comes in newspaper has to be true, has to be correct. Okay, so that thing happens when there is an advertisement. Like there are sections of societies for whom every like every noodle is a Maggie. Okay, every type of noodle you present to them, it is a Maggie. Okay, so they don't differentiate. Okay, similarly there is a section of people who still think that every toothpaste is Colgate. Okay, so what happens that they are not aware, they haven't seen the world, they haven't come out of their village. Okay, and they have seen this on their TV sets. Okay, and probably they are not exposed to the outer world. So there is a requirement of media literacy as well. Okay. Today, like there is a lot of issue related with the fake news. There are a lot of issues related with this what we call improper representation of certain class of people, certain people. Okay, so in this case, we need to have courses on media literacy, and we need to make people aware that what media is and how it behaves. Okay, so that we realize that whatever comes on news or on TV or in newspaper may not be correct. Okay. So media literacy is something that our society badly need today, and we don't have the courses for it.
Thank you so much, sir.
So there is a question from Akanksha.
Yeah.
She says that the sentences that are used in advertisements have become so acceptable to the audience that even if we reject them, will it be possible to stop such representation?
No, it's not possible to stop their representation, that the way they represent, but it is possible to see it differently from our perspective and to explain to our surroundings what does it really mean. So from our side we can reinterpret it, we can put it we can rephrase it and tell the actual message to our surrounding, so that we can do.
Okay, sir. There is a question like this. Is it possible for the idea of the advertisement to be understood in different meaning, or it has some specific or one meaning?
No, there is, as I said earlier also, there are multiple interpretations, and depending on the interpreter, there will be difference in the interpretation. But there is something called dominant interpretation, that majority of the society interprets in one way. So that becomes a dominant interpretation. So even if you are interpreting it differently, so that is a small chunk of people who are interpreting it differently. So what happens is the statistically powerful group will win. The statistically powerful interpretation will win. But there are multiple interpretations.
There is a question from an advertisement student named Kevin. He asks, can we file a case against fake claims?
We can complain to the Grahak Suraksha, okay, and depending on how they want to proceed, there can be various steps taken against such fake claims.
Okay, sir. Another question from Nipa. In order to promote feminism, have we digressed from the theory, how it was proposed to be, and rather politicized the body to promote the aspect of sexuality? Your views on this? We have digressed from the theory of feminism, and we have politicized the theory to promote aspect of sexuality. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Hello, sir.
Ma'am, I think there is some network issue with the resource person.
Yes, I think so. I think Khatri sir has gone out of the meeting room, right?
I hope he will rejoin.
Yeah.
Ma'am, the resource person is back.
Okay.
Oh, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sorry for this technological issue. This is something new that we are learning.
No problem, sir.
So yeah, the question was that
Yeah, I'll
instead of
repeat it, sir.
feminism, instead of feminism, we have come to more of body politics. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's
So there are two issues here. First is related with the social structure. That is what we wanted to achieve in terms of feminism. And second is related with our what we call personal what we call idea of the body. Okay, because feminine and female, that is, as I said, biological and social, and there is conflict at both the levels, and it is easier to fight at the biological level, what I feel, and that's why the body politics has become more dominant, or probably the dominant ideology has diverted into a body politics instead of the politics of the society. Okay, that is, social constructs are kept as it is, and now we are all discussing about the body politics. So the actual patriarchal or masculine dominance is still there, and we are talking something else in terms of feminism, that is about the body. So that is a kind of what we call uh, diverse uh, di- diversion in the actual thing that we wanted to achieve. There was a movie called Snowpiercer, uh, which is by the same director who made Parasite, the famous movie. So in that movie, he showed that the entire idea of revolution is also supported by the dominant ideology, okay, to create a kind of idea of the freedom of expression. Okay, so similar thing is happening in this politics of feminism and body politics. Okay, that we now don't talk about the social upliftment of female and removing the social constructs. Rather, we discuss more about the body politics. So yes, it's a big issue, and we have to be very cautious how we deal with it.
Okay, sir. There is a question from Neha. Do you think the contemporary advertising agencies have shifted to promoting their products using female empowerment taglines and messages as the movement is gaining momentum despite the utility of products?
Yes, yes, that's true. But at the same time, even if they show an empowered woman, the empowered woman will come in a household product like detergent or Fair and Lovely and all those things. Okay, they don't come in say banking sector. Okay, you don't see the advertisements related with banks and let's say investment, and the women is the protagonist there. That doesn't come. So even if they want to talk about empowerment, they keep the bottom message clear that you are primarily a housewife and then you are an empowered woman. So it will take some years, maybe decade, to present a really empowered women on our screens.
Okay, sir. Now there is a question from Rosmi. How can we enlighten students from engineering, medical, or any other field about this stereotyping in an interesting and simple manner? How can we convey this in a more effective way?
Yes, you will have to go by the examples. You provide them example, ask them to interpret, and then you provide them the real, the hidden interpretations that what could be the other meanings. They see a particular meaning, you have to make them realize that these are the other meanings and they have to be cautious about it. And it is better if you also talk about the statistics in their own field. Okay, like when say in engineering for example, except computer engineering, no other branch has let's say equivalent level of female students. Okay, mechanical you hardly find one or two female students. Electrical you find one or two the female students, except in computer and IT. All the other branches have least number of female students. So there itself you have that imbalance of gender. Okay, so you can start from there only. And why this happens, okay, that is very important. You ask the female student that which number of child she is in the family. Okay, there is a high possibility that if she is the first child, she is getting a chance into engineering. If she is third or fourth child, she may not get into engineering because the earlier kids have already taken that position, and family doesn't have that economic condition to put all the students in the such powerful what we call field where they have to spend extra income. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So there is a question from Ampika Pillai. Can less number of women being engaged with media professions be one of the reasons of being women projected as sex objects?
Yes. See, issue is everywhere, almost in all fields, the women engagement is less than the male engagement. Okay, so that is always an issue because the male education is considered a priority in our country, in our society. Okay, so the better branches, the good areas, the males will get there. The females are probably only dominant in let's say teaching. So there are good number of females in teaching. The other areas you have very limited number of females. So if the number becomes balanced, probably the change will come automatically.
Okay, sir. One last question.
Yep.
The advertisement of the vehicle called Hero Pleasure, which is actually meant for men,
Yes.
portrays a female model.
Hmm.
What if we portray a man riding Scooty Pep? Scooty Pep is meant for women.
Women.
And if we portray men for that, what will be the impact?
See, if you, for say, product which is primarily targeting the female, okay, then if you use male with that product, you associate male with that product, it gives the idea that the product is masculine. Okay, and probably female consumers stop buying that product. But in case of bikes like pleasure, okay, the word pleasure itself a significant, that why women is there. So riding bike is equivalent to riding a woman, the women that is available in that particular picture. Okay, so the pleasure word is used for is ambiguous interpretations. Okay, and it implies that if you use this product, you will achieve a woman like her. So I have shown one picture, and there was this caption, rideability. It was basically an advertisement of Royal Enfield, which is primarily a masculine bike vehicle, but still they presented a woman beside it. There is no male in the advertisement in the picture, and they write rideability. So the bike is as rideable as the women. That's the clear idea they are implying. Similarly, in this Amul Macho advertisement, okay, that the product is for female, okay, but sorry, product is for male, but they are projecting a female there, implying the effects of it or after effects of it. But you will never see a male character in the advertisement of say female innerwears, okay, or in the advertisement of the cosmetics, okay. So there is a clear difference that if this is a feminine product, a female will be there. If this is a masculine product, a female will be there to give pleasure to male. So this is the kind of argument is going on continuously. Okay, so we need to change that. Yes.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much, sir. That was the last question. We'll thank you, really thank you for all the clarifications and observations that you've made. Now, may I invite Ms. Shruti Francis M., joint convener of this particular webinar series, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you.
Over to Shruti.
Okay, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Shruti.
Okay, good evening all. On behalf of the Department of English, St. Saviour's College for Women, Aluva, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Javed Khatri for accepting our invitation and for the wonderful, thoughtful and very fruitful interactive session. Personally, I was fortunate to attend one of his workshops organized by Research Culture Society last month. I could experience the sincerity that Dr. Khatri shown when he was taking class and valuing our assignments. So with this virtual student-teacher connection, when we invited for this session, and we could provide the objective of this webinar, we got a very positive response from Dr. Khatri, and it shows his passion for disseminating knowledge. Thank you once again, Dr. Khatri, for your fruitful, thoughtful, interactive session.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank all the participants who are part of this Google Meet and YouTube live streaming for their support and cooperation. Thank you for active participation and timely suggestions. Last but not,
yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, please go on. I'll take in the end.
Okay. Last but not the least, I thank all the members of my own English family, the Department of English. Without their support, this event will not be a success. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shruti. And I'm very much thankful to the organizers who has given me this opportunity and this opportunity to interact with different types of people coming from different background and different places. It is completely my pleasure, and thank you so much. Thank you for being such a nice audience. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Samit.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, participants. And may I remind you that tomorrow the session will start at 10:30. Thank you. Meet you tomorrow.